Hello, everyone. Welcome to BRAP. It is Thursday, February the 12th. And didn't do BRAP last night because of the state of play today. So I figured, hey, why not do a BRAP on the day of the state of play and give, thoughts on what Sony had to show. Got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of thoughts about the state of play. I'll say this. I miss E3. I think as a gamer, having experienced E3, never in person. Actually, the year I was supposed to go in person, believe it or not, was 2020, the year that COVID hit. So I remember I had my airfare booked and had a place booked. I was actually going to be staying with the Iron Lords, and we had I think they had rented out a house, and so we had everything set up, and COVID hits, and then E3 was no longer. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I miss E3. I know there's Summer Games Fest, but I guess for me with PlayStation, there's always, I think, that one E3 that Sean, you remember where they showed God of War 2018, and they showed, I forget what else they showed, Last of Us Part 2. It was like it was the pinnacle of E3 shows. It was the pinnacle of a Sony E3 show. And Sean Lady literally just went out there. He really didn't say much. It was just presentation after presentation after presentation. And Sean Lady just didn't really say much. He's like, "Hey, welcome to the PlayStation E3 event, and we got something to show you." And then it was like they showed you something, and now it's like, okay, we have something else to show you. And that was peak PlayStation for me, at least. I think in some ways I was spoiled by that. So I think some of that. Sometimes I have very lofty expectations of if we can get like an E3 like that again, that'd be fantastic. That'd be amazing. But probably not. Probably not. Probably won't get another E3 type event at that level, that scale. But you never know, right? Who knows? Never say never, I suppose. But there were some cool announcements. There were some cool announcements for sure. There's some surprises. One surprise in particular I thought was great. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. I do want to say something. I was playing before we get to the PlayStation state of play. There is one. Hold on, so there's one thing I did want to talk about. I'm sorry, give me a second. I'm just pulling up some articles here that I had teed up that I closed out by accident. By the way, do the YouTube thing. Hit the like button, retweet the link, and we'll drop the link here in the live chat. Let everyone know we're live, or share it on your favorite social media platform. That is okay too. All right. I need to edit this tweet. All right. Yeah, so I've been playing the Neo 3 demo. And if you've been listening to the show for a while now, you probably know or aware that that I do like playing the Dark Souls games quite a bit. And Neo 3 is Excuse me, I didn't mean to yawn. Oh my god, I need coffee. Sorry about that. Neo 3 is a Souls-like game. With the Team Ninja, uh, gameplay mechanics to it, kind of that its own iteration of that style of game. And so I'm playing the Neo 3 demo, and look, it is the combat's fun, but just graphically, visually speaking, the game just looks old. It kind of looks like a PlayStation 4 title to me, at least. And I'm playing on the PS5 Pro, playing it on performance mode because I'm not going to play a Souls-like game on quality mode. I'm not doing that. Just ridiculous. You got to play those types. You got to play those types of games at a higher FPS. So at least 60 FPS. But I'm playing it, and I just I think the Katana engine is showing its age. Yeah, just it's kind of this this narrow, wide linear. Forget what it's called. Logic and I were talking about this. I think it's narrow path wide. Is it narrow path wide linear? Is it? I can't remember what it's called now. Maybe it's narrow wide linear path, or I don't know. Who knows? But it gives the illusion of kind of open world, but it's more linear in nature. Definitely more linear than something like an Elden Ring or something to that effect. Um, but I'm playing this game now, and yeah, I just considering the scale of the game and how linear it seems, in scope. I would expect it to be a bit more, I don't know, visually appealing to the eye, I guess. Don't get me wrong, the combat's fun. I don't know. It's just not really resonating with me, I guess is my point. So let me get Logic in here real quick. What's going on, Logic?
How much rap? How are you?
Who is that? Is that Totoki?
That is.
My goodness. That is too funny. Hiroki Totoki. Hold on, secure Logic.
Or as he's known in Japan now, double-digit profit to Toki.
Why is he known as double-digit profit Totoki now?
Well, because he said last year, we needed to work on profit margins and get it into double digits, and he came back this year, and that's where they are and where they look to be by the end of their fiscal year.
Right, boy, did he ever do that? Right? I mean, he did. He said, "Hey, look, we got to increase those profit margins. None of this single-digit stuff anymore." What were their profit margins again? This quarter?
They are at I can't remember what I calculated. Either it's somewhere between 11 and 13%, 12 and 14%, and that's just off the quarter. So I think I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think I calculated by the end of the year they would be at like 10 or 11%, something like that.
Yeah. Seawolf Swim says keeping his eye on Bungie. Totoki's keeping his eye on Bungie. He probably is. But no, Logic, I was telling the audience about my experience with Neo 3. I know we've talked about a little bit. And what is it? Is it wide, or what is it, linear, whatever you were saying? I forgot.
Yeah.
Whatever reason I forgot.
PlayStation's term for it is near linear wide path.
Near linear wide path. Thank you. I totally butchered it. And so what I was saying is that, like, given the design, right, of that Neo 3 kind of incorporates that design, that visually speaking, it just really doesn't. It looks like a PlayStation 4 game, like a late gen PS4 game. And I said earlier, I think the Katana engine started showing its age. I won't say who tweeted this out, but somebody had tweeted out that the game looks amazing, and I don't agree with that assessment at all. Even the cutscenes don't look that great. They're not bad, but they don't look great. The strength of this game really are the combat mechanics. The combat's fun. It's kind of interpretation of a Souls-like game with that Team Ninja Gaiden type combat that Team Ninja's known for. I personally wouldn't spend $70 on it. That's where I've kind of landed. I played a little bit more of the demo, and I'm like, no, this isn't a game I would spend $70 on. Probably I would pick it up on a sale, but I wouldn't pay $70 for it. And not with Resident Evil Requiem, which we saw today on the horizon now, which I'm probably going to pick up. I didn't have that on my to buy list, but now after watching today's show, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to pick this up for the PS5 Pro.
Well, Brad, clearly the answer for a Neo 3 should have been on Xbox, and then clearly the graphics would have looked better.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look into this. I don't know if the demo is available on Steam, but I was thinking about it. Like, if the demo is available on Steam, I'd be interested to see how it performs on Steam. With the visuals cranked up, because it's just not cutting the mustard on PS5 Pro. All right, Hamp. I know you are.
It's got
go ahead.
It's got very positive reviews on Steam right now.
Yeah, no, it's reviewed well. My complaint's the visuals, the graphics.
Yeah, what I'm saying is on Steam, normally if there's a graphic performance problem, or there's an issue with image quality or graphical fidelity, like a big issue, it would not be very positive. So my suspicion is it's pretty performing. It looks pretty good on PC. You might want to ask if Slow-Mo's playing it.
Yeah, because I'm sure I could probably crank up the settings, the graphical settings on PC, right? My 3070, my 12700 Intel CPU. With with DLSS, I'll probably get better. I would imagine I might get better performance than the PS5 Pro. Probably at least 60 FPS, high settings. DLSS is enabled. Because it doesn't look like it's not a very graphically intensive game. So I don't know. Let me see I want to see if there's a demo out for it. Is there a Neo 3 demo on PC? Oh yeah, there actually is a free demo for Neo 3 on Steam. All right, so I need to download that on Steam. And it says system requirements. Demo helps test performance with recommended hardware, including an RTX 3060 Ti or RX 6700 XT for 1080p 60 FPS. Oh, if you finish the demo by February 15th, you receive the Twin Snake helmet for the full game. All right. You know what, Logic? I might have to demo's live till the 15th. All right, so I need to download this thing tomorrow then. Start playing it on PC. Crank up the settings. And then report back. All right, Logic, I have to ask you a question. You are playing the new Trails game. I forget what it's called. Trails of...
Legend of Heroes, Trails Beyond the Horizon.
Trails Beyond the Horizon. And you are what, 50?
I'm probably about 65 hours into it.
Jeez.
So far.
All right, Logic. So I got I've known you for quite some time. I don't think I've known you to spend that many hours in a single player game. What has you hooked?
No, not at all. I don't know. It's not so much hooked. I mean, I do think it is a very good game. I think the more I play it, the more positive I am on it. I think it's just a matter of just where I am now. I just kind of gave up the ghost on games as a service. I was really, you and I talked at the end of last year, I think, and I mentioned, I mentioned on Mooch's show or your show, I can't remember which one, but this is typically a time, right, for that. Like you play the last zeitgeist game of the year, in November-ish, early December, and then you really don't have anything cooking for the following publishing year until February. So usually you do this thing where, you either go into your backlog or you play some games that you really like to play, but you don't always get time to play because you're always trying to keep up with, whatever the new releases are. So that's what I was doing. And then I won't get into all the detail, but I was playing a bunch of Space Sims, and I just kind of vapor locked because, I was playing a bunch of them, and I was and I pulled this one additional one out, and it just kind of hit the tip over point where I was like, okay, there's too many different HUDs, there's too many different control schemes, there's too many different like mappings to my joysticks, and I just went from being like supremely happy in what I was doing to like supremely unhappy. Um, and I was thinking about what I was going to do and how I was going to change the mix. And at the time I'd said I'm not playing Zeitgeist games in 2026. Like I'm not keeping up with all that. And then I was like, no, let me check the new releases and see what's going on. And I picked up Trails. So then I just decided to stick with it. I think there's something else going on too, because so I picked up Trails, I've picked up Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and I've picked up Grid Legends Deluxe Edition for the Switch 2. And I'm not particularly wrapped around the axle about like sinking like 26 hours into Grid Legends. I'm like, okay, it's there, it's in the catalog, I can play it whenever. But as I crossed the line of 52-ish hours in Trails, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this down, I'm gonna put it in the backlog, I'm gonna start playing Dragon Quest VII. And I played about 5 or 6 hours of Dragon Quest VII. But several nights this week I've come home and I've said I don't really, I want to put Trails kind of on slow burn, right? Put it on the back of the grill, just play it like on the weekends or something. Because I think I'm close to getting done. And when I say close, I mean like within 15 to 20 hours of being done. But each of those nights I've come home and I've turned Trails back on. So I'm not putting it down and I'm not putting it in the backlog. So, just from observing my own behavior, there's something going on that I've come to enjoy. And I think what I'm particularly enjoying right now is the complexity of the progression system, and how that bleeds then into the complexity of the combat. It's just very, very multidimensional. It does require a lot of understand. Like, okay, it's not flight sim level, but like I've had to do a lot of digging, and have had to develop a very deep understanding of the progression methodology, come up with a workflow for managing it, like understanding, when to do things. I kind of picked out some times that whenever I complete a run in the Grim Garden, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do, like these upgrades. But I was clearing this one area, the conservatory, which is kind of towards the back half of chapter 2, and I ran into an optional boss, and I roll up on this thing, and this thing has over 200,000 hit points. And so there are little stands typically before you go into an area with a boss that allows you to, if you go to that stand, you can replenish all your you can just hit a button and replenish all your hit points. The other thing you can do at that stand is you can access the Grim Garden. And the Grim Garden is this area where, first of all, you can grind. It's supposed to be like a VR area, but they tell you it's optional. It's not really optional. Like, to level your characters, you really have to grind those areas. And so typically I do not access those areas, but it's also an area where you can access it and upgrade your orbments and buy quartz, trade in Sepith, do all this other stuff that you're normally not able to access just out in like the native world. Normally, before going into a boss, I usually don't do that, because usually when I do that, I wind up spending 15 to 45 minutes of kind of admin and logistics time, like managing my whole characters and my war party and shifting people's positions around and leveling up, crafts, arts, and other stuff. But But before going into this area with this boss at the end of the conservatory, I did, because when I hit this optional boss, this dude was 200,000 plus hit points. I'm pretty sure whatever's on the other side of this thing, the thing is just as big. And so that was the first time, it's 62 hours in, that I accessed the Grim Garden to do a bunch of party grooming and like war party kind of planning kind of stuff. So it's interesting. It's got a lot of depth to it, more so than I think just your average. I mean, even more so, definitely more so than Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So that's probably what's got me hooked right now, is that ridiculously overly complicated level of detail.
All right. So how long do you know how long the game is? Like how many hours it takes to complete it?
It's supposed to be, I've seen it listed as 50 to 60 and 60 to 70. Okay. I'm figuring that my mistake has been I've wound up doing a lot of the optional content that theoretically you wouldn't do if you had just mainlined the campaign, because I don't know like the Trails paradigm. And I'm guessing that
gotcha. Okay.
So as you go through the story, you get these things called S points. And S points are kind of indicative of how much of the game's total content you've consumed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at, like I said, at 62 hours. So there's a couple data points probably. At 62 hours in, I have 161 S points. The maximum S points is just a little over 403. I'm guessing, I've looked at the grading scale, and I'm guessing that by the time I finish the game, at 161 story points, I have like my grade level is a C, and it goes through like this. It's a tier of grades, but they have things like D plus plus plus, E plus plus plus. I mean, so it's not A B C D F, but it looks like that. But it's about 20 something, 30 something levels deep. I've estimated that by the time I finish the game, I will have an A rating, which is pretty high, and will mean I will have consumed a bunch of the content. The other thing I'm tracking and looking at is, and this is the thing that's causing me a little worry. What I've seen is that when you finish the game, your characters will be around level 90, and the max is 99. Well, my characters are at level 40 right now. So I'm estimating that I've completed more of the game than is commensurate with the level my characters are. So I don't know if I have a bunch of grinding that I need to do that I'm not calculating into it, but that's kind of where I am right now.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that's awesome. Well, I do want to go, Logic, to the state of play. I'm sorry, give me a second here. All right. All right, Logic. So Sony had their state of play today. Showed off a lot of games. Opened it with sequel to Kenna Bridges. I can't even talk. Opened up with the sequel to the 2021 game Kenna Bridge of Spirits. The sequel is called Kenna Scars of Cosmora, and yeah, I thought the opening here for the show was pretty good. I didn't know that they wasn't even aware, I mean, inkling of that the I forget the developer's name, that they're working on a sequel for Kenna. Did you play Kenna Bridge of Spirits when it came out?
I did not. No.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good game. I didn't complete it, but I did play a couple hours, actually more than a couple hours. It was actually a really good game. It was a PlayStation timed exclusive. It was actually exclusive maybe for about a year, I think. Yeah, so we got the sequel of that. And so no announcement. I mean, this game is there's no release date yet, but Ember Labs developer. So they announced the sequel to the 3D action platformer Kenna Bridge of Spirits, and Scars of Kimura follows an older, more experienced Kenna. So she does actually, Kenna, the protagonist here actually does look older than the first Kenna Bridge of Spirits. And so I actually I like the first Kenna game. I thought it was really good. I'm looking forward to this one. You see some of the visuals here on screen. Yeah, I thought this is one of the games that they showed, Logic, that I was really excited for. Any thoughts on this game when you saw the reveal? Is this something you might be interested in?
I'm interested in it. I don't know how likely it is that I will play it. But from a marketing perspective, I thought it was a good way to open the show, just in terms of hold on a second.
Yep. Yeah, to your point, Logic, it's coming out 2026 at some point this year. So again, it's going to be a PS5 PC exclusive, probably timed exclusive. But yeah, I thought it was a great way to open the show. Again, it wasn't something that I had on my radar or wasn't even aware that they might be working on a sequel. So it was actually a really cool way to start off the show. I was really surprised. This actually announcement really surprised me more than one later on in the show, which I had heard some rumors about. But yeah, I thought it was a great way to open up the show. I think visually it looks great. It gives me a more polished Breath of the Wild vibes.
Well, there were several vibes. I started off with that, like, oh, it's but then I felt like Horizon vibes, and there was one other thing that brought to mind that I can't remember now when I was watching. But there was like 3 or 4 different games that I thought of when I saw this going by. I just, like I said, I thought it was a great way to open the show. In that, it's like you said, it was a surprise. Like, nobody was thinking about this. Like,
No.
this is what we do all the time, right? The gaming community like salivates and thirsts over all of these ridiculous things, right, that are supposedly going to happen during these shows, and here comes this thing out of left field that nobody was thinking of. That, like you said, like is one of those things in the portfolio that like doesn't blow the roof the doors off, but is very solid, right, type of piece of entertainment that I think is good for the platform. So I thought it was a good first pitch.
Yeah, and again, it's a 2026 release, right? So it's going to be exclusive. It's going to release on PC, but it's going to be releasing on PS5. The first one was timed exclusive, eventually made its way to the Xbox. There's no Xbox date revealed or discussed. It's just PC, PS5, 2026. So it's another exclusive that the Xbox isn't going to get, at least for the time being. Let me get B Money in here real quick. What's up, B?
What's happening?
Perfect timing, man. Discussing the new Kenna game. Yeah.
Before you get started, Brad, B, yeah. I wish you'd been here. I've been trying to get props from you for playing the latest Trails game for weeks. And Brad just had me go through why I was enjoying playing it, and B Money wasn't here. So I am once again disappointed. I'll keep trying, man.
Oh, which one? Oh, you're playing Tales or which one?
Trails Beyond the Horizon.
Oh, okay. How you like it, man?
Good, man. Good. I'm 65 hours in.
Okay, look at that.
Now, B, Logic isn't someone that will spend 65 hours in a game. As long as I've known him, I've never known him to like actually put that level of it or invest that much time into one game.
Not in a single
continuously.
Player.
Yeah,
in a single player.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
exactly.
In a sports game, in a flight sim, in a space sim, in a racing game, yes, absolutely. But in a single player, like story driven, beginning to end game, no.
So what is it that hooked you in, that you got you playing it so long?
Yeah, I won't spend too much time because Rap just having. I think it's the complexity. I think it is that like all of the different progression systems and how that links into the combat system is so complex that I think that's hitting at my like OCD in my obsession, like with things being overly detailed, and how you have to understand how how you align court slots into an orbment, and then you have to collect sepith to turn in sepith to get quartz to go into different slots, and how you swap out your holocron to influence like how exactly your arts and crafts work, and how arts started off not powerful but like are on a time delay, but then they don't consume craft points, and then your craft points deplete, and then you have to do regular attacks to buff your craft points to get to a point where you can do an extra, like that whole spiel, right? And the workflows to manage that, I think, are the thing that I find appealing.
Okay.
All right, B. So we're going to go back to the state of play here. They opened it up with Kenna, the new Kenna game. I almost said Kenna Bridge of Spirits, but it's the sequel to Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Kenna Scars of Cosmora. What did you think of that announcement?
Well, I talked about this a while ago, that they, kind of had something coming. I'm glad it was announced. I really liked the first game. It definitely had like that. It reminded me of like 360 games, or PS3 games, like during that generation.
Cameo.
Yeah, like the cameos, you know what I mean? Like it's this 3D platformer action adventure game, you know what I mean? That just, invoked that old school feel, with just, beautiful graphics and a pretty solid story, and, kind of mix some of it's not really a, FromSoft combat, but it's probably more similar to what they did with the Star Wars games, what Respawn did, whereas it's kind of light, FromSoft combat, but something that's a little more challenging than games of old, and it was a pretty solid game. So I'm glad that they announced the sequel, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree, B. I think I think the one thing that might just kind of a quick takeaway from the state of play was that there was variety here, right? You had games like Kenna, you had games, you had smaller games, you had smaller games like what was the game that they showed? What was that game? Oh, Neva or Neva?
Never.
Yeah, Neva. Games like that. Then you had games like Yako Shinobi Ops. And then there was a couple other games, right? You just had variety, right? You had your third party support, your third party publishers, some of their AAA games. Then you had like nostalgia titles, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Then you had like smaller titles mixed. You had those smaller titles, nostalgia titles, AA, AAA, and then obviously some of the Sony first party stuff, which we'll get into later on, and then a surprise stealth drop. But yeah, that was kind of my takeaway. Just a little bit of something for probably everyone, right? People who have different tastes in gaming. Some of these games that were shown aren't my cup of tea, but again, I just kind of like the variety and range they showed with some of the reveals here at the state of play.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has kind of been what they've been doing for a while. Minus the state of play that they had that was, kind of exclusive, more targeted towards the Japanese audience. But in my opinion, I think, what they've been doing probably the last 3 or 4 state of plays is really offering more variety as far as what they've been showing. I think the one thing here is that since this was a longer state of play and they had more of a first party presence, it wasn't like this downer. You know what I mean? Like even like some of the people who are like super hard on like these shows were like, oh, this was pretty good. This was a solid show. And I think it's just because there was a balance of, you know, first party stuff and, you know, some second party announcements, you know, things like that, where it kind of, you know, offers something for everybody. And it kind of quieted the crowd who's, you know, been saying that, you know, there aren't many first party games, where they pretty much showed a decent amount today. So I think that kind of calmed, you know, some of that noise. But if you look at, you know, some of their previous shows, I think they've all been, you know, pretty balanced as far as the variety that they've shown.
Yeah, and that's a great point, B. I mean, I think you know, the other thing too, you talk about that balance is you know, like look, and I've been guilty of this. I said it at the start of the show. We all remember the E3 with Sean Layden where he barely spoke 2 words.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of like, I think, set the bar very high for PlayStation, right? That E3. But even here, like they even have exclusive games, right? And even though they're not first party exclusives, they're still exclusives, right?
Right.
It's still that, okay, this is, you know, we're you know, we're providing you that ROI, your investment, right? You went out, you bought a PlayStation 5, you're getting games that are either going to be timed exclusives or they're third party exclusives, and they're coming to PlayStation first, you know,
Right.
You know, sprinkled in with the you know, the solid third party support, you know, the solid you know, first party stuff too.
Yeah, I think that's just, you know, the balance that they kind of have to keep going forward. And I think this is something that they probably can do. I think with, you know, the change in leadership has also made them kind of reassess how they've been, you know, doing these shows and just communicating with fans overall. You know, you can just look at that by, you know, how they kind of turn things around for Marathon, what they've done with Tokon, you know, being very just transparent with what they're doing and letting people play it. And, you know, if you look at, most people wouldn't notice this, but if you actually look at the trailer for Tokon, they made some notable changes to the gameplay. So, you know, just being out there, being transparent, you know, receiving the feedback and then making changes to the game, I think is something that's pretty commendable and you know, will help them going forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. I also like that they with some with games they showed you know, coming to PS5 or PS5 Pro support. I like that kind of text that takes the guessing game out of you know, whether or not a game supports whether or not a game's going to take advantage of the PS5 Pro.
Right.
Yeah, so I thought it was great too. Let me grab this super chat here quickly. Andy Hart with the $5 super chat says, "Excellent state of play. My highlight: Resident Evil Requiem looks beautiful and can't wait. I can't wait. Just a shame no demo and no mention of PSVR 2 support. Yeah, no, I don't think we've heard anything PSVR 2 in a while. But let me go down the list here. They also Ghost of Yotei Legends. I wasn't surprised by this one. They released Legends, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm actually a big fan of Legends. I don't know if anyone on the panel's played Legends on Ghost of Tsushima, but the Legends DLC for Tsushima was actually a lot of fun. There's a versus mode where you have to go through. You have to clear out certain checkpoints in a map and kind of a race to the end to beat the other team. That is a lot of fun. And so I played that quite a bit with oh my God, I always forget his name now. Well, I don't know why I forget his name. He's probably listening to the show. Anyhow, I'll remember it. But yeah, no, I wasn't surprised by the announcement, but nevertheless, still excited for Ghost of Yotei Legends. Any thoughts on Legends, B Money or Logic?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely check out Legends. I didn't play it as much on the first one. I think we ran it a couple times when it first came out with Eric and I can't remember who else.
I think we did. I think you're right. Yeah.
We but I'll definitely give it a chance this time around. It's there's not many games that I'm playing right now, so when stuff like this comes out, I'll definitely give it a chance and see what they got going for it.
Yeah, and this one's again. This is the other thing I liked about State of Play. There was content they showed, and they showed release dates that are really kind of around the corner.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. Like Ghost of Yotei is coming out March 10th. Or I'm sorry, not Ghost of Yotei. The Legends DLC is coming out March 10th.
Yeah, that's also pretty. I mean, I guess because Marathon is like a different game, but it's just weird that they would kind of release, multiplayer content back to back like that, because Marathon releases on the 5th, and that's just be 5 days later. But it's I guess it's targeting 2 different audiences, and if they can get that in before the quarter ends, maybe grab a couple more bucks of revenue, it'll help make the numbers look a little better.
Yeah. Let's see. Then they showed Death Stranding 2 on the beach coming to PC. Nixus has worked on the port. Not surprised by this announcement at all.
Hey, that's what Nixus does, man.
Yeah, probably. I will definitely not play it on PC. Like for me, Death Stranding is like one of those games that, while I enjoy the experience while I'm playing it, I don't know if it's something I would ever want to go back to. And I know that sounds, I don't know, maybe it comes across like I really didn't enjoy the experience, but I did for the moment. But Kojima, I think like the Death Stranding games required like a different level of attention. And I think the first time playing it, great, and then trying to play it again, yeah, I don't know. I actually did try to play the first Death Stranding when it released to PC, and just I don't think I got past like the first 2 hours. I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it the first time. I'm good. I don't want to go back to it. So,
what were you playing, the original or the director's cut?
The director's cut.
Oh, okay. No, the director's cut is pretty good, man. I like all the stuff they added to it.
Yeah, they had a lot of quality of life stuff there. They added to director's cut from what I remember. But yeah, I just couldn't get back into it again. Yeah, but this is gonna there's this port actually also includes some quality of life improvements, unlocked frame rates, ultra wide support. It's actually support dual sense support as well. Upscaling and frame generation is part of the PC port. So, Logic, did you play Death Stranding 2? I don't remember if you played it.
I didn't finish it, but I played a chunk of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Any interest in the PC port?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm very interested in it. Again, no guarantees that I'll pick it up and put it in my rotation, but I do love getting the stuff with all the PC improvements on it. And Death Stranding, I mean, any Decima engine game just looks and runs amazingly on PC.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I mean, like Horizon, not Horizon, I'm sorry, but yeah, the first Death Stranding, I remember like just the opening of the game. I remember like being like, oh wow, this definitely noticeably better on PC than it was on PS4. Then Bad Robot Games shows what is it? 4-Loop. Yeah, not my cup of tea. Interesting, but not my thing. Anyone interested in this game? Any thoughts?
Yeah, this is a game I was talking about maybe not the last time or maybe the time before that when I was on the show, and I was like, I just don't understand what they're doing with this game. Like it looked interesting, but I don't know if this is going to appeal to the masses. I don't know if this was the greatest partnership you could take on at this time, especially with just like all the other stuff that you have going on in the multiplayer space. I just feel like this is just going to come and go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with you, B. What about you, Logic? Any thoughts on 4-Loop?
Yeah, I mean, it looks super interesting, but I'm probably not gonna come off, stuff that I'm playing to go play.
Yeah.
I think there is a market for these kind of 4-player co-op. Like I think there's a crew of people who are like the Left 4 Dead people, Back 4 Blood people, Alien. I can't remember what the Alien game is. It's a 4-player co-op. There's got to be, because these things survive and stick around. So I think this may be appealing to them. And from a design perspective, in a world where we are constantly berating the gaming industry for not doing anything different, I will say that there were design elements of this to me that sounded different. So I hope at a minimum it just, puts some new ideas out there on the market, and, we see an inflection point, right, in some of these games doing some different things.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. Gamers are often critical of the industry not taking risk or enough risks, right? So, we also saw a couple Capcom games here. The Pragmata demo is now available. The release date for that's April 24th. I don't know about this one. I don't know.
Day
how I
one.
feel about
Day one.
Day one. Okay.
Day one. Day one.
Why is it day one for you, B?
Bro, Capcom is back in a bag. I don't care. I've talked about this last year, man. Like,
yeah.
What Capcom is doing this year is unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. Resident Evil, Pragmata, Onimusha, Monster Hunter Stories 3 looks absolutely amazing. Like, what Capcom is on right now, it's going to be a historic run. If they don't get Publisher of the Year, like, it's going to be between them and Microsoft. Microsoft coming through with the games, it's probably going to go to them. But if it can go to anybody else, it's Capcom, because they are killing shit this year, bro. It's absolutely amazing what they're doing. Capcom, keep it up. Come on, bring that Breath of Fire. We see you can get in your RPG bag with Monster Hunter Stories. Bring Breath of Fire back, and let's get to it, man. Because Capcom is in a bag, and I'm loving everything they're doing right now. Day one, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know, B. Like, I don't disagree. I think Capcom's putting out some really good games. I don't know. This game just isn't like, I don't know. It's not resonating with me. I don't know. Interesting premise. Like, I love that it's like in Times Square in this kind of, I guess, alternate universe. I'm not exactly sure what's happened here in the game. I think it's kind of interesting how, is that his daughter? Like, what is that? Is that like, I'm trying to understand.
That's a Android.
That's an Android. Okay. That's what, okay.
Yeah.
So it's an Android, and the girl is like she basically rides on the back of the Android. And the Android protects her.
The guy is real. The girl is the Android.
Oh, the girl's the Android. Okay.
Yeah,
so I had it flipped. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out like what the gameplay loop is here. That's what I'm not sure of. It looks interesting.
It's like a puzzler combat game. It reminds me of something like if Kojima had slapped his name on this, I wouldn't be surprised that it was a Kojima game. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? And it's that far enough out there where it's like, huh, they're doing something kind of different over here, and that's why I like it, man. Did you play the demo?
No, I haven't played the demo now.
You got to check the demo out, man. The demo is pretty good. It's different. It's not something that you would see every day. It's they're doing something different with it. Like I said, it's like a puzzler combat game, and once you kind of figure out the puzzles, the combat just becomes super fun, and it's I think it's going to be one of those sleeper games, man.
All right. Well, it is running on the RE engine. And speaking of, well, let me go to you, Logic. Any interest in Pragmata? I might have to check out the demo. B. Yeah.
I've been very interested in Pragmata since we saw it back at the beginning of the generation. I've had reasons to kind of question, just one, given the length of time, that we've been seeing it, given the length of time that we had where we didn't hear anything about it. Again, it being a new IP, right? Amongst, all the Capcom tentpoles. The game not appealing to you, Brap, I have to say is a you problem. Like, there's lots of reasons for this game to be appealing. I think B, I feel like it's a little bit of a kind of a new God of War format and structure, meaning that it's solve the puzzle, get past the thing, and then get to enemies, have a fight, have the android girl, have enemies that the android girl has to help you with to surmount, and then fight through those stages, and then get to like the next puzzle thing where you also have to like work with the android for her to figure out like how to get to the next stage. So, but yeah, and I think graphically it looks, I mean, stylistically and art wise, I've been very impressed by this game since it first showed. So I'm just hoping that it sticks to the landing. That's my worry. It seems like nothing runs well on RE engine except RE. So I just hope this game doesn't fall into that, at least on the PC side. But then again, like I almost like I'm a few inches away from just saying Capcom also prints money, just like Nintendo does, because they put out games that quite frankly aren't performant and don't run that well, but then wind up selling manga and their financials are doing well. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see how this game lands on the landscape.
Well, demo's out. I might give the demo a run. I might give it a shot. All right, then we get Resident Evil Requiem, which I am there day one. B money. February 27th comes out in 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm day one. I'm excited. I thought this was a great trailer. So we see Leon, we see newcomer Grace Ashcroft. And then you see like the trailer showing Leon visiting the Raccoon City Police Department years after the events of Resident Evil 2, which was interesting. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. This one's going to be good, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, everything that Capcom is releasing this year is day one. Capcom, you getting all my dollars, man. What can I say?
Just take my money.
Just take my money. You can hold me hostage. Hands in there. You got.
Do you feel like the Capcom Renaissance kicked off with kind of the reemergence of Resident Evil, like actually being like good again?
Nope.
No.
I've been saying for a long time when Capcom was going through their whole Crapcom phase, I was telling everybody, and this is documented. You can go back and listen to the old Chick podcast when we were talking about this. I told everybody that the thing that they need to bring back is Monster Hunter. And when they brought Monster Hunter World back, it changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was their highest selling game. I think it did like 20 million or something crazy like that. Like Resident Evil is great. It's great for what it is. It brought back the horror genre, all of that. I give it its props. But Resident Evil never is going to sell like a Monster Hunter game. And
no. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think once they brought Monster Hunter back, that opened the eyes for a lot of people, and they started paying attention to their other stuff. And I think that was the key. And I think that set off everything, because that brought in so much revenue for them, and that allowed them to do all these smaller projects that people just didn't think would ever happen again. Like Okami's coming back. You know what I mean? Like we're getting a new Onimusha game. You know?
Yeah, who'd have thought like Onimusha would be back? I mean, like Onimusha. Right. I mean, I remember after the first Onimusha on PlayStation, a lot of us were like or after that generation, when do we get it? And then generations went by, there was no Onimusha. Like a lot of us were like, when do we get another Onimusha? Like we want that. Right. Especially when we saw Resident Evil kind of come back. And you start seeing, some of the older Resident Evil remakes, and now we're getting Onimusha. But yeah, it's exciting to see Capcom. It's funny you called him Crapcom. I think it's awesome to see him back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This reminds me of like when I was a kid. when Capcom was like releasing like banger after banger after banger, and it's just like you just see that logo come across the screen, the blue and yellow, it gets highlighted, you know what I mean? It plays a little music, like you in for something good, you know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, like I said, they're back in their bag, and everything they're doing right now is printing money. So I'm happy for them. Hopefully they continue to dig in that bag and they bring us a breath of fire. Because it's, you know, I've been asking for that for a while. But yeah, just keep doing your thing, man, because, you know, revisiting all these old IPs, I think that's what more developers need to do. Is go back in your bag, man. You can reinvent what was old and make it new again, and you can bring a whole new audience to your IP. So continue doing what they're doing. Much applause from me.
The other thing too is the Resident Evil remakes have been really good too. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, which I think was the last Resident Evil remake they made. Resident Evil 4 is actually really good for a remake. I mean, like it basically improved on the original's tank controls. And I think they stuck the landing with you know, a more modern day version of gameplay with Resident Evil 4 remake. And 2 was great too. So yeah, this is day one for me. I'm looking forward to it. Logic, what about you? Are you interested in Resident Evil Requiem? Is that on your list?
No, I don't think it's quite on my list yet. I mean, it looks gorgeous. You know, from a your performance and graphical fidelity, image quality perspective. And all these games have really since Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. I've always really been impressed.
Yeah,
by the visual style, and the performance of the fidelity and quality. The reason it's not on my list yet is I have to admit, I have to admit my own truth and know my reality. And I have only played, I think, ever that I can think of, 1, maybe 2 games where you play as dual protagonists that I've actually liked. That just tends to be a thing that I don't particularly care for. Halo 2 was one of them, and Spider-Man 2 is the other. But generally, I just tend to not like that.
You feel like that kind of breaks the immersion for you?
I always wind up having one character that I like. Whereas with Spider-Man 2, I didn't like. I loved playing Miles, but I didn't dislike playing Peter. Right, and same thing with Halo 2. I obviously preferred playing the Master Chief, but I didn't dislike playing the Arbiter. But most games, I will wind up enjoying playing one character, and then like whenever I have to play the other character, I'm like, I can't be bothered. Like it pisses me off, and I don't like the gap between how much I like the two characters is usually much greater. So, and with you playing Leon, right, and then Grace, like seriously worry that I'll have that kind of experience again. So I'm just keeping an eye on it for now.
Yeah. That's fair enough. All right. We also, speaking of like classics, Legacy of Kain Remastered was announced. That comes out March 3rd. So this is the final. This is the Legacy of Kain Defiance Remaster. It's the final chapter of the Soul Reaver saga. First released 23 years ago. Can't believe it's been 23 years. So, look, Legacy Kain came out 20 something years ago. Great then. Though I'm not interested in right now. Not interested in going back to it. Yeah, I'm good. I believe. Sometimes I wonder with like these remasters they come out. Like I wonder if they're kind of like dipping their toes and seeing how much interest is in a franchise when they do these remasters. So they might maybe look at maybe doing a remake or some kind of new release, a new entry into a franchise. But yeah, I mean, I know Legacy Kain's also getting a new 2D action game. But yeah, this wasn't something that that I'm interested in. Great 20 years ago, but not something I'm interested in today.
That 2D action game is it looks fire.
That actually, it does look pretty good. But yeah, go ahead, B.
Yeah. That I'm on that 2D action game day one. The remaster, they could kind of keep them. I think when you have a franchise that's that old, I think you should always lead with a remake. Just because, like, if you're trying to appeal to a new audience, usually those remasters, they still feel like old games. You know what I mean? Like, the resolution is nice. It may have a better frame rate, but usually the controls are still pretty bad. The game still feels sluggish. You know what I mean? It still plays and feels like an old game. I think when you go back that far, you should always leave a remake and try to, open the IP up to new fans, new gamers, a younger fan base. But we'll see, if it does resonate and, if it gains some traction. But in my opinion, I don't think it will.
Logic, any interest in Legacy of Kain Defiance remaster?
No, not personally. No.
All right. They also announced strategy RPG Brigadine Abyss. Not my cup of tea. I'm not interested in that. Any interest here from the panel?
No, I'm good on that.
Yeah, that's coming out this year as well, 2026. Also coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch 2, and PC. We also got an announcement for Dead or Alive 6.
Yes, sir.
June 25th. Also coming to Xbox Series X and S and PC. I haven't played Dead or Alive. Honestly, I haven't played Dead or Alive since Dead or Alive 3. That's the last time I played Dead or Alive. But I thought it was a cool announcement. It's cool to see Dead or Alive coming back. This is
Dead or Alive 6 is coming. No announcement for Rollback Netcode, which is a little bit disappointing, but it looks like we are getting a new Dead or Alive.
There's a new one. In development for PS5.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Like, we've been getting the 3D fighters back. Virtua Fighter was announced last year. We got DOA today, and now we're just waiting on Soul Calibur. So come on, Bandai. Hopefully this summer we get a new Soul Calibur announcement, and then all the big popular 3D fighters will be back. And for me, it was a great announcement just because, like I said, for the last couple years or last 2 years or so, like, the fighting game community has just literally been eaten. You know what I mean? We've been just getting so many great games. We're getting the Avatar game. We're getting the Invincible game. And now this Virtua Fighter is coming back. So if we can continue to get Tokon, we continue to get these great announcements, man, like, there's no excuse for the fighting game community, because we are being blessed way more than we have in the past 10 years. So pretty exciting times if you like fighters.
You mentioned Soul Calibur. Didn't Soul Calibur have Link as a playable character?
Yeah. On GameCube, if you got the GameCube version, Link was on there.
That's probably the last time I played Soul Calibur. Then I only remember that because I remember Link.
Yeah.
And I think, there were like playable characters, I think, for each platform, right?
Yeah, each platform had their own characters. Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that. Yeah. Oh, Soul Calibur, blast from the past. Yeah, I don't do fighting games anymore. But again, I thought it was a cool announcement, like nostalgia announcement, like great to see Dead or Alive. I thought it was cool that they're working on a Dead or Alive game for PS5. All right, we also saw Remedy's new game, Control Resonant. We saw some gameplay. I don't know, like I played the first Control. It just lost me after a while. I don't know. What did you guys think of the gameplay trailer?
I mean, I think it looks pretty solid. It's on the list, but I don't know if it'll be a day one for me. It's just not what I'm looking for in games right now. but I'm sure I'll get to it down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what did you think of? Like, I thought it was kind of interesting, like how he was running across buildings, the side of buildings. Sometimes, like the buildings look inverted a bit, like they're upside down. And the way he was kind of floating around or running down the side of buildings, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Gravity Rush. If you guys have ever played that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It did kind of look like that.
Yeah. Also, some of it kind of reminded me of the movie Inception a little bit. Which that was kind of interesting, but yeah, I don't know. This game's just not. I played a little bit the first Control, wasn't bad. It just lost me at some point where I was like, I don't want to. I think the puzzles just got to me. I was like, I don't want to do this. I just never went back to it. So, Logic, any interested? Are you interested in Control? Especially the sequel Control.
No, I'm kind of like Nate. Nate said he played 80% through and then hadn't finished it, and I'm kind of like that too. I've come back to Control like multiple times, and it just doesn't stick. Not that it's a bad game. It's just like there are other things that then come up by my windshield that I'm more interested in. And I'm gonna go back on 2 Alibis since you keep skipping me. I am actually a little interested in Brigadine Abyss. The previous game in that series was a 25 to 30 hour RPG, so it may not take as much time as some other JRPG, so I might be interested in it. It all depends, because since I'd be coming to the series new, I'd have to kind of do some reading and stuff to get caught up, but it might be something I'm interested in. Dead or Alive 6, kind of like you, like super interested, very happy. From what was the original Dead or Alive an Xbox exclusive on the original Xbox?
Dead or Alive 3 was.
Okay. So yeah, coming from that legacy of nostalgia and things that I'm always happy about, and I'm a person who, like, for a long time, like, did not like fighting games, and then there were a very, very small number of fighting games that kind of brought me over. Eternal Fighters on Sega Genesis was one, and then Tekken was another, and then Dead or Alive was kind of like the third one that finally made me like actually enjoy fighting games. So it's and Virtua Fighter, since I was a Sega kid. So it's exciting to see it coming back. I don't know if I'll have time to make. I don't know if I'll have room to make time for it on my slate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, Logic, I wasn't purposely skipping you.
No, I'm just gonna get. There were a couple times you asked, and I just chose not to jump in. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Nate says. Hold on. He says. Brap, you need to play the Pragmata demo before you write it off. All right. I said I'll give it a try. I'll download the demo and see how I like it. All right, we got the announcement for Crimson Moon. Yeah, not really my thing. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. What'd you guys think?
Easy pass.
Easy pass. What about you? Logic?
This is one that I'm actually excited about. So
okay, all right.
Felt like it gave off a little bit of Diablo vibes, but obviously from a different camera perspective. So I'm not as much interested in the co-op aspect of it, but I did pull the thread and do a little digging, and it's set up to be perfectly playable as a single player game. So
okay,
I need to look into it a little bit more and see if there's a loot loop, but if there's like loot drops associated with this, it's definitely something that I'll be interested in jumping on board with.
Yeah. All right. Other game they showed, which is also coming out in August of this year, is and actually I should mention Crimson Moon's coming out fall of this year, and then August of this year we did get another look at Beasts of Reincarnation. We've seen this game before. Saw more combat, big boss battles, but I don't know. Didn't really resonate with me. I don't know if it's something I'd pick up, to be honest with you. I don't know. What'd you think, Logic? Oh, go ahead, B.
No, go ahead, Logic. I've talked enough.
Now I'm forgetting what I'd read about this game back when it was part of the developer direct. Yeah, I mean, I like the setting, I like the premise. I think what I saw at the developer direct, and I probably need to go back and watch this trailer. I felt like there were hints of, kind of frame stutter and performance problems, so I was a little sketchy on it, and just kind of wanted to let it finish marinating and see how it sticks to the landing. That's probably still where I am with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, just not.
To me, all these games starting to look the same.
I was just about to say that.
Like,
yeah. Go ahead, B.
Like when you look at one of them, and 2 or 3 trailers later, you see another one. It's like, didn't we just see this? Like all these games that, these Souls-like open world, run around, fight big bosses. All these games starting to look the same. And I know they're not exactly the same, but I think this is going to be an issue for them in the near future, because most people are just going to skip over them because they look like a game that they already have. And unless you're doing something that completely separates you from the pack, then I don't see how these games plan on succeeding in this genre.
Yeah, I that's a great point, B. I think that's kind of where, and I didn't really, outside of just poo-pooing and being like, I'm not really feeling it. Yeah, I think you're right. Like it has those Souls elements to it. It looked like I thought I saw a bit of emphasis on parrying in this game. They showed the video. More Souls-like. Yeah, I mean, it just, I don't disagree. I think some of these games are starting to look very alike in terms of combat, gameplay, even visually, right? Some of that pseudo open world, Japanese mythology or this kind of, I say Japanese mythology, but like this, this fantasy world that we've seen in like games like Souls games, or games like what's the game that came out last year, the Chinese developed game, Wukong. So yeah, no, I think it's a fair point.
And there's another one of those games coming up pretty soon. You know what I mean? Like, aren't they making another Black Myth game?
They are. They're making a sequel to it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to continue. I mean, and I actually first started talking about that not first, but this is the same thing that came up 2 State of Plays ago, I think. Whether I can't remember if it was the one at the start of last year or the one at the start of the year before, and I mentioned that all these games look the same. And part of the problem is going to be when 75% of the industry is all doing their games on Unreal Engine 5, they are all going to tend to look the same, particularly in their first announcement intro trailer. The lack of diversity in game engines that are being used is part of the reason. Like, you're going to see a bunch of stuff coming through that has the same kind of visuals associated with it, particularly for that first time out.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Logic. Yeah, I don't know, the whole Souls light. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's becoming a bit overdone now. All right, let me go to Rayman 30th anniversary. That was that releases tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I cover that was total nostalgia announcement, but absolutely, not something I'm going to pick up. But yeah, I do remember Rayman years ago, a long time ago, but not picking up 30th anniversary edition.
Oh yeah, I got to pick it up, man. That was one of the first. That was the game that I bought with my PlayStation. That was the game released day one with the original PlayStation. I took that game home.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I got to pick that up for nostalgic purposes, man. That I remember that game like it was yesterday, man.
Yeah. What about you? What about you, Logic? Is nostalgia going to kick in? Are you going to pick this up?
No, not at all.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound so derisive. I'm just not. I'm not.
No, it's fine,
I'm
man.
not
You're just not interested.
I'm not a platform gamer type person.
Yeah. All right. Then we have Mina the Hollower. What's the name of the making of Mina the Hollower. I'm sorry. That is that comes out spring of 2026. It's currently on Nintendo Switch. Or is it currently on Nintendo Switch? I don't remember now.
No, I don't think it's out yet.
No, it's not out yet. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I read that incorrectly. Yeah. Yeah. So this is described as kind of a Zelda-like game. But yeah, not something I'm interested in. All right. All right. Then Neva coming out February 19th. This is a DLC coming out, Neva the Prologue. And a DLC available February 19th. I thought this looked kind of interesting, as kind of an indie title, but probably not something I'd play, but I thought artistically it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, Neva's dope, man. I think I bought that in one of the indie sales, maybe like a year ago or something like that. It's a pretty good game. So the DLC was a nice announcement.
Yeah, when did Neva release?
Either last year or the year before.
Okay.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
It was October 2024.
Yeah. So 2 years ago.
All right. So is it like a puzzle platformer? I've never
Yeah, it's a puzzle platformer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say it's kind of like I don't know, I'm trying to think of games that might,
I'm trying to think.
What would you compare it to? Yeah.
Did you play Gris?
No, I never played Gris.
Yeah, it's kind of like Gris.
Same studio, right? Or no,
Is
different
it?
studios. I don't know. Maybe not. No, I think they're different studios. So, but you're saying it's like Gris then, because Gris was I don't remember Gris. I remember like Gris had like puzzle elements to it, but that's all I really remember. I never played it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Logic, any interest in Neva?
Oh yeah, it is the same team. It's the same team.
Oh, is it the same team? Okay.
Yeah.
So Gris would be the predecessor of this game.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So interest, yes, but probably, one of those things that it's tough to find time to make time for. I've always been super impressed by like how beautiful the game looks artistically. Since because I want to say I think the first time we saw it was at a Nintendo Direct. I think.
Yeah, probably so.
So yeah, I've always liked the idea of it. I just have never found the time to make time for it.
Yeah. All right. Then we also saw Yako, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Shinobi Ops, which is coming out in 2027. This is a cooperative co-op stealth game.
This one
got the isometric. Yeah, go ahead.
This one for me was it's like you see that basketball player take that 3-point shot, and you think it's the money, but then it's not. And I was like, oh, so close. And like, because when I first saw it, I thought this was something built more along the lines of Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, which is a which is a multi-character, tactical, near real-time stealth action game where, it's an isometric view and you have control, right, of multiple characters. And so the action kind of unfolds on the screen with you taking turns, like moving each character, and then like that character pauses, and then you move the other character. And I thought this was going to be, I think, a new version of that game or a sequel to that game is coming out. I can't remember what platform it's coming out on, but it's coming out on console. But I thought that's what this thing was, and then it was co-op, and I was like, no, I don't want to play this being bothered with 3 other people. So
yeah,
too bad.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. It had like this, almost like I don't know if it was these. It showed like some visual cues. Like I don't know if that had to do with like if people can see you. Like there was something there, like where the character was like looking, and there was some kind of like visual cue, some kind of light. I don't know if you guys remember that in the trailer. I thought that was kind of interesting. Well, anytime I hear Shinobi, my ears like immediately perk up. I thought it was kind of an interesting premise. It's got that isometric camera. And so I actually did. Yeah, go ahead.
The notion of kind of like a squad of like medieval spec ops, right? Like is a super interesting premise. And what I suspect is, this game could find its feet amongst the streaming community, because it might be like a streamable game that is enjoyable for people to watch, right? If for streamers who collab. But yeah, other than that, I wish it was something single player.
Yeah. Apparently, the studio behind this game is the original studio behind Tenchu. So I don't know if you guys have ever played Tenchu, but Tenchu was a like stealth shinobi ninja type game that I would love to see come back. It was awesome. Yeah. I thought it looked interesting, but probably not something I'll pick up, but definitely looks interesting. So Crafton announced Project Windless. This looked kind of interesting. So apparently this it's a video game adaptation of The Bird That Drinks Tears. It's based on a Korean novel about a rooster fighting off armies of zealots with twin blades. You see those armies, by the way, those zealots. I thought that was actually kind of cool. Mass army. I don't know how many zealots were on screen, but he was wielding that dual blade. He was inflicting a lot of damage. I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know. It looked interesting, but I don't know. I got to see more. Definitely looked kind of interesting, though. What'd you guys think?
I'm good on this. Easy pass.
B's like, it's a pass.
Yeah, this one's ranked up huge on my list. I'm super interested in this. It's like you said, you kind of want to see it open up a little more on what exactly it is. Obviously if it's a Souls-like, it's probably something that I'll skip, but it's more of just kind of a straight up action game. I also want to make sure it's not like a Dynasty Warriors, like
I was just about to say that, yeah.
Fighter. But what the cultural part of it has me hooked in the same way that Expedition 33 does. It feels something very grounded in a different culture's kind of ethos. And that's one of the reasons why like I'm super huge on it, to really like get into that story and kind of see what it conveys. So we'll just see if it stays on track.
Yeah, the Dynasty Warriors thing's kind of interesting. I hope it's not that kind of game, because I'm not interested in that. I thought I saw some larger bosses on screen at one point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I hate automatically thinking that means Souls-like when I see big bosses on screen, but that's the first thing unfortunately comes to mind.
And I didn't get that sense of it because there were still like the minions on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Do you guys get I got a little bit of God of War vibes. There's a scene there where he does something. I don't know if it's some kind of like spell or something he does to kind of like knock enemies down. I don't know. Just that part gave me a little bit of God of War vibes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I'm interested to see more of this game and see how it kind of fleshes out. All right. They also showed us Star Wars Galactic Racer. They showed us some gameplay. I'm not interested in it, but anyone on the panel?
Nope.
All right. We saw 007 First Light. They got another trailer. I know this is IO Interactive. People buying Hitman. To me, this is like, it looks like a Hitman with a James Bond skin on it, or 007. Like, I don't know. I'm not interested in it. I'm just not. I feel like a good 00 game. Like, it's like, I don't know. 007 just doesn't resonate with me anymore. I think it's part of it too. I'm not looking forward to it. What about you, Logic?
Yeah, it's ranked up pretty high on my list. Again, always depends on them sticking the landing, but it is. I mean, from my perspective, it is not Hitman in a 007 scheme. They have very different kind of gaming vectors in terms of what they're like. Like Hitman is a very much like it's 75% a stealth game, and this is not that. Like James is going to go in and at certain for certain of these missions he's just going in playing at Bogart, right? So it's gonna be a lot more like you try and go action, right? And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to say I dislike Hitman, but it's definitely one of those like stealth games that like you try and get actiony, right? And you can be quickly and easily overwhelmed. And that's not what this game is. And it has a lot of other elements, right, in terms of like the gadgets and the driving sequences and all that. So I think this is a much bigger action game, with set piece action sequences in it than like a Hitman game. And so it's much significantly greater in scale and scope than a Hitman game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I say Hitman too because I know developers had they had described it kind of as, well, they didn't say it was completely like Hitman. They described it kind of as a balance between Hitman and like games like Uncharted. Like you talked about like those, like I think you just kind of described like those big action set pieces.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely Hitman elements in it when he goes in like undercover. But my sense of it is that's 10 to 20% scope of a level, and then it goes beyond that into a completely different element of game.
Yeah, when I look at it, it just puts me in the mind frame of what a Uncharted game would look like today. These big action set pieces, this kind of scripted driving sequences and just stuff like that. It just reminds me of Uncharted. And I don't know if that's really what they're trying to go for. But at least, as far as the gameplay they've shown, it's leaning more that way. And it doesn't really remind me of like James Bond or 007 games of old, but I'll definitely check it out. You know what I mean? It looks like it'll be a fun, 20, 25 hour game. You can kind of get in and get out and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, Logic, this seems like the perfect Game Pass game, but I'm
not taking the bait, Brett.
I can't bait you tonight. Yeah, I don't know. Metal Gear Solid. We got they showed, so Konami had a bit of a stage present at the State of Play today. We did see Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. That's coming out August 27th. It's coming out to all platforms. Konami's bringing Guns of the Patriots and Peace Walker to console and PC. Till now, Metal Gear Solid 4 was only accessible on PS3. Guns of the Patriots tends to get a lot of slack for being a game that's very heavy on cinematics. But yeah, I'm not. I think it's cool that they're releasing these games, but I'm like, just give me give me a Guns of the Patriots like remaster. I never played Peace Walker. I think Peace Walker came out on, was it a Vita? I think that was the handheld.
I think it was a PSP game.
Was it PSP?
I believe so.
Yeah, I never played it. I obviously played Guns of the Pages, but I'd prefer like a full blown remake than like a kind of a remaster. They also showed the Metal Gear Solid. First Metal Gear Solid is actually getting a resolution boost, I think, is what they announced. So, not interested in that. I'd prefer a full blown. God, if they ever released a Metal Gear Solid like remaster or not remake, oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing, but probably never happen. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 is going to is receiving a new high resolution graphics option. That actually comes out or already came out today. So, any interest here on the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2?
Yeah, I'm definitely get that just because Metal Gear Solid 4 is stranded on a PS3. There's no way to really access it.
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
You just got to throw it in the collection. But it's not something that I got to run out and get. I'll definitely pick that up later down the line.
Yeah. What about you, Logic? Any interest in?
No interest for me.
No. Okay. Konami also announced Darwin's Paradox. That's a upcoming puzzle platformer. They actually did tie in with Metal Gear Solid, which I thought was kind of interesting. The demo is actually out. It's actually out tomorrow. So yeah, not something I'm interested in. Again, Logic runs on the Unreal Engine. Any interest here?
Oh yeah, I've had this on the wish list. I think since the first time they showed it. Okay. I love my platformer games. That's probably one of my top 3 genres to play, and it's usually you can get into these games, play them for a few hours, beat them, and kind of move on to the next thing. And the way my life is set up, that's really the game that I'm doing most times these days anyway. So this kind of works for me. And it looks pretty cool. It's something different. Playing as an octopus is kind of dope. So I'll definitely be there to pick that up day one.
Yeah, I did like the Metal Gear Solid tie-in. Though. I thought it was kind of interesting. They had the octopus under the box.
Yeah,
and it had like the the alert or whatever. Like when guards are alerted, that I don't even know how to make the sound, but. You know what I'm talking about, like the little exclamation point.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, yeah, that kind of prompt. Logic, I think you said you're not interested in this, right?
No.
All right. And then Konami showed off Castlevania Belmont's Curse. Yes, I thought this looked pretty cool. I thought this looked really good.
It looks amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah. That 2.5D Castlevania. And it looks like they had cutscenes, right? Cutscenes that look very much like kind of remind me of the if you guys ever watched the Castlevania Netflix.
Yeah, the anime on Netflix.
Yeah, the anime. Yeah, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
I thought this looked really good. This one looks interesting. I don't know if I'd ever get around to it, but I definitely think it looks great.
Yeah. That's a day one buy for me. But waiting a long time for Castlevania to return. So I'm glad it's back. And they did post that
40th anniversary.
Yeah, this is just the start for Castlevania, so we'll be seeing more projects. With the Castlevania IP going forward. So very, very, very excited about that, and hopefully, we can get some 3D Castlevania games, and if we can get that same anime style, cell shaded art style, oh my God, that would be so perfect. So definitely looking forward to the future announcements for Castlevania.
B, you remember when Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest came out?
Absolutely.
You remember the excitement around that? Because I remember like Castlevania was just, I mean, that was NES for me still, like as a youngster, was like peak gaming for me.
Yeah, man.
Like I just remember like huddled around, passing the controller back and forth, playing Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest.
I mean, that's when Konami, Capcom, those teams those were household names. You know what I mean? Like
Konami had it's like silver, like the games came in like the silver box.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Absolutely, man.
Not only like do they make games like Simon's Quest, Konami, but they they gave us Double Dribble.
Double Dribble. They made the Ninja Turtle games. You know what I mean? Like they were all over a lot of great IPs back then, and just firing up those games, seeing those logos, it's so memorable, and it's great to see that they are still doing it this many years later. You know what I mean? Like we had to fight for Konami to kind of get back in the game, and now that they have new leadership and whatnot, we're actually seeing some more actual console games from them. But I'm glad they're back. You know what I mean? I think they are restoring them, Capcom. I mean, some of these teams that have been around for 20, 30 years, 40 years, they are restoring the stuff that I love about video games. And I appreciate everything that they're doing.
Yeah. Logic, what about you? Any interest in Castlevania Belmont's Curse?
No.
Okay. All right. Konami also showed us Silent Hill Townfall. So we got the first full-length trailer here. Another classic Konami franchise. This one, oddly enough, though, is it's actually releasing 2026. At least it's slated to release 2026, only on PlayStation 5 and PC. So this is one of the other games I mentioned earlier. We talk about, PlayStation getting, third-party exclusives coming to the PlayStation 5. This is another one. I thought this was not something I'm interested in. I've really been interested in Silent Hill in a long time. But I thought it was kind of the trailer's kind of interesting. You showed that we got the protagonist Simon, kind of in this looks like to be like what's the name of the town? Saint Amelia, I think it was. And he seems to be carrying this kind of like a little miniature, looks like a handheld TV or something. I forget. I don't even know what it was. But yeah, I don't know. Look kind of interesting, but probably not something I'd play. What about you guys?
It's not a day one buy for me. But once later down the line, it might be worth at least checking it out, seeing what it's about. I still haven't even checked out Silent Hill F. And people have said great things about that, but it's just not something that I feel like I need to run out and get.
Yeah, not for me. And most of these, when you're saying, do you have interest? Most of these are because like the legacy game or whatever, the nostalgia like just isn't part of my DNA. Like I was never a big Castlevania guy. I was never a big Silent Hill person. So when these things come along, I tend not to be interested because there's nothing for me to like revisit or to resonate with.
Yeah. Konami also announced Rev Noir, which is a new JRPG. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know. I need to see more. Yeah, this was just kind of a quick trailer. What'd you guys think of this trailer, this reveal?
I was kind of, go ahead, Logic. Go ahead.
Mild to mild plus interest. The thing that turned me off was it immediately gave me, MiHoYo gacha game vibes, Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves or whatever. But then I saw like some of the, boss fights or mini boss fights or whatever that were on there, and I was like, oh, okay, well, hold on a second. So, like you, I want to see the book opened up a little bit more, but definitely at least, something I'll keep an eye on out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah, for me, like it was kind of weird because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it looked like there's like multiple art directions in the game. Like when it first showed, I'm like, why does it look like Kingdom Hearts? Like, and then they showed like another shot of it, and then it looks like Star Ocean. and then they show like another shot of it, and it looks like a totally different game. I'm like, yo, what are they trying to do? So I don't know. I'm definitely gonna check it out, just because it's a new JRPG. Let's at least see what they're trying to do here. But that art direction was kind of throwing me off.
Yeah, I actually thought when they announced it, I thought it might be new Suikoden game, but no, it's not. Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Yeah, I don't remember the art direction you're talking. I don't remember. I don't know. I'd have to watch the trailer again. But I think this is like their first new RPG in a very long time, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they haven't put anything out like in art. Like I mean, Suikoden is old. I'm trying to think the last RPG they released. I can't even think of it. New RPG. It's been a while, but
yeah, I was trying to find some more information on it because I think this is also another game that they're developing with PlayStation, or this might be.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, I think you're right because it just says, to be announced PlayStation 5. It doesn't list any other platforms. Yeah, in development for PlayStation 5. Yeah, yeah. All right, then we also got John Wick. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about I'm always kind of on the fence with movie adaptations, video games, but or video game adaptations of movies. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, Keanu Reeves is in it.
This to me was what it represents to me in the show is the greatest plot hole in the show. Like I watched this trailer and I thought I was watching like the Matrix demo, right, for Unreal Engine or NVIDIA or whatever it was. And I was like, I have a very hard time believing this is actually going to be a video game. And they say they're working closely with the writers and Keanu and some of the Lionsgate crew. I'm like, well, it has to be like Keanu stuntman because the movements look so much like the movie. I'm like, I can't believe anybody like mimicking that, right? Or copying it. Like, it's got to be the stuntman doing the mocap. And so I'm like, did we actually see a game trailer or did we just see like I mean, obviously it was cinematic, but I mean, was it more like a concept demo that was basically, a movie shoot right done on a mocap stage? I love the idea of this. What was the John Woo game? Was it hard that had Chow Yun Fat? Was it? It wasn't Hard Boiled's the movie, right? But then Chow Yun Fat I thought he did like the mocap for like a John Woo video game. I think it was on Xbox.
I don't remember.
So I just have a hard time believing that this is going to translate to be an actual game. So
yeah, it was running on PC. I think it said that in the trailer. But that's a great point. Logically, I was wondering, like, are they going to be able to get the animations that fluid animation down in the game? And then how's that going to work when you're? Because I thought like the combat the combat sequences that they showed in the trailer were pretty fluid, kind of like you would expect in like what you've seen in a John Wick movie. And like I'm just kind of curious, like how's that going to translate into actual gameplay when you're making those inputs with a controller and button? Like I don't know how that's going to look.
Yeah, I feel like this was a concept video that got announced as a video game way too early. I heavily expect will just wind up being canceled because the creators won't be able to settle down on pulling it together. I think Nate in the chat says it was Stranglehold is the game that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you what did you think of the trailer, B?
Yeah. I was not impressed by it. I don't really care about like these movie tie-in games. They don't usually turn out too well because they're trying to lean heavy on the IP, and the gameplay usually isn't as good as the cinematics try to portray. So this is another game that was just an easy pass for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you, B. And I think I don't know, Logic. I guess I would, if this thing got canceled, I guess I wouldn't be surprised. I hope that's not the case. I mean, it looks John Wick kind of interesting. Just I don't know. I guess I need to see more. All right, we also got some more Marathon. They have a Server Slam kickoff that starts February 26th. Yeah, this seemed like I don't know, like I've really been keeping up with Marathon too much, but this trailer looked a bit I don't know. Kind of had this I wouldn't say it was violent, but kind of had this creepiness to it, almost like survival horror in some ways. I don't know. Like I don't even know if Marathon is something I'm gonna play. Probably not, but I don't know. What did you guys think of the trailer?
I mean, like I've been saying over the past few weeks, probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks now, they've turned it around, man. I think they bounced back a little bit. I think more people are interested in what they're doing. The little videos that they've been putting out every couple of days have been working. They've gained a lot of traction, and I think the trailer was pretty good. The release is right around the corner. The hype is starting to ramp up for it, and we just gotta get it in the gamers' hands, and hopefully it sticks to landing and can stick around for a little bit.
Yeah. Logic, what'd you think of the new trailer they showed for Marathon?
I mean, it's not something that I'm gonna play, so I mean, I don't have a ton of commentary on it.
All right. Yeah. So is this Server Slam? I'm assuming, is this some kind of open beta? I didn't really pull the thread on it.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Beta.
That's what I thought. I may try out the open beta just to see what it's about. Maybe run a couple games of slow-mo. I don't know if Nate's in the chat. I don't know if Nate is if this is on Nate's radar. I may do that. I might just give it a run on the open beta and see what it's like. Someone said Bungie's dead. Yeah, I don't know about Bungie being dead. Okay. Yeah, Daniel, if you're gonna come here and insult the panel, you can leave. Yeah, we don't do that here. Hold on a sec here. All right. All right, I'm gonna skip over a couple games here just because I'm pressed on time here. We did get Housemark give us another Ceros trailer. This game releases April 30th. I already know I'm day one. Big fan of Housemark. Loved Returnal. Day one. Yeah. What about you, B?
Absolutely. I'll be there.
And Logic, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've talked about this before. I don't think you're interested in Sorrows, right?
Correct.
Okay. Not even the slightest. Not even the slightest.
Hamp doesn't have time to play roguelikes, or anything of that ilk.
You're not about the bullet story or bullet hell. You're like,
I love the Bulletstorm aspect of it. Yeah, I don't have time for the roguelike or roguelite.
Yeah, I mean that was my hold up with a lot of games recently, just because of most of them are roguelike, and it does become annoying, especially if you're just trying to get through the game. Constantly dying and resetting your progress is very annoying, but there are a few that pique my interest. Like,
but it's so satisfying when you make it through, though. B, when you get that perfect run,
yeah,
so satisfying.
Like that. You guys probably don't know the game or haven't checked it out, but that new Blaze Blue roguelike that they released a couple of days ago. Absolutely fire. Love the game. So there are a few that will get my attention, as long as the gameplay is there. And Housemarque has always had that absolutely amazing gameplay in all their games, and I assume this is going to continue with Sero. So I'll be there day one for that.
Yeah, I think, for me, what was awesome about Returnal was, it was a big step up for Housemarque, right?
Yeah.
To go from the kind of games they've typically made, incorporate a lot of those elements of roguelite and the bullet storm and all that, and bring that to life in that 3D setting in more of a AAA game. To me that was just amazing. So but yeah, no, I can't wait. I can't wait to play it. We also got an update on Token, on Marvel Token, Unbreakable X-Men, Storm, Wolverine, Magic, and Danger are going to be playable characters. The upcoming Marvel fighting game. I know we talked about fighting games earlier. B, I'm assuming you're probably. I think this game looks really good, by the way. But I won't pick it up. But yeah, what'd you think, B?
Absolutely day one on this game. I was day one when they first announced it. You got one of the best fighting developers in the industry working on this fighting game, Arc System Works. So yeah, absolutely there day one. Just based on this announcement, it looks like what they're doing is the 5 main characters will all have their own teams. So Storm was announced when they initially announced the game, and now the 3 other characters that they announced today, which were Danger, Magic, and Wolverine, were all new announcements. So that's part of the X-Men team, and so it looks like Captain America, Spider-Man, Doctor Doom, and Ghost Rider are all going to have their own team. So the next announcement we should get would be one of those teams. So I believe that they announced that the game is releasing August 6th. So I would assume over the next few months we'll get the announcements of the rest of the teams, and hopefully get a teaser of the season pass that's coming. It is kind of shocking that they're only doing 4 characters for the first year, because a lot of current fighting games will do maybe 2 or 3 packs a year and kind of release 6 to 8 characters throughout the year. So they're going back to the traditional style where it's just 4 characters a year, at least in the first season pass. So it's going to be exciting to see who those characters are, if it's going to be a new team or if it's going to be characters that are joining a existing team. But I'm super excited for this, ready to get my hands on this. And like I said earlier, if you've paid attention to the actual trailer, it looks like they have made some updates to the game for the better. Some of the things that the community was talking about, when we played the beta. So they are listening to feedback and making adjustments. So hopefully, once the game does launch, it's the game that everybody wants, and we can, all be in love with it and hold it down over the 10-year span that they plan to have for the game.
Yeah. What about you, Logic? Are you interested And Marvel Token.
Interested, looks good. Probably won't have time to make room for it on my slate.
Yeah.
A couple business things, or one business thing. So the guy who appears in the video, the younger guy, I think he's like the account manager or whatever. And I don't know if he pitched the game, but I think he was involved in like helping to put that together and connecting PlayStation with those guys. And they did a little segment where they talk about how various members of that team like go out and kind of scout to try and find games that are doing well or broker these types of deals. So it's super exciting to see him and his energy, and actually like being a comic book fan and being a fighting game fan, and like seeing this put the whole thing together and bring that energy on stage. That's like a thing I like less executives, more of the people on the front lines, like out like making these things happen. So I thought that was pretty good. I love like the subunit, mini team kind of aspect that's going on. Danger to me was a super weird choice to bring in as an X-Men. I don't know that anybody knows that character. Like I'm aware and familiar with that character, but it's like one of the esoteric X-Men that I frequently like. I couldn't tell you what that person's power set is. Super interested, like B said, to see how it unfolds. And if they're going to build a team around Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, like I don't know who that's going to be, because the only real the character Ghost Rider has been a part of Thunderbolts and has been part of Midnight Suns, but that's been a different Ghost Rider. So Robbie Reyes has only been part of Secret Defenders, so I just don't know, who they're gonna, and Defenders is like the trash can group of Marvel Universe. It's like you take random members of other superhero groups and put them on the Defender. So I have no idea how that's going to turn out. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what choices they make there. Last thing, I didn't think about this. Really smart idea to put out a Marvel fighting game in the year that you're putting out Avengers Doomsday. I don't know if that was the whole plan, or if just like the A-Team, a plan just happened to come together, but really smart move going into the December release of the new movie.
All right. Last but not least, PlayStation wraps up the show with an announcement. God of War, the trilogy remake, is in development right now. And not only they announced this, they actually had the original voice actor for Kratos, Terrence Carson, or TC Carson, again, voiced Kratos in the original God of War 2005. Throughout the Greek era God of War, he announced that he's actually reprising his role as Kratos in the God of War trilogy remake. I'm excited. This pulls all those nostalgia strings, and I would say God of War 3 with the that God of War 3 opening when you're scaling Gaia, and then like there's certain points where you're scaling and you get to like another it's like a platformer sort. You're fighting enemies like that. That to me was just that intro was just awesome. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, and not only that, they announced God of War: Sons of Sparta, which was this is the God of War. This is the 2D side scroll that we've been rumored for quite some time. This is more kind of this is definitely a kind of I think the trailer showed Kratos before he was Kratos as a youngster and his brother Dimios, and this was a shadow drop. I mean, the game is out now, so I thought that was a cool announcement. But yeah, I don't know if I'll play. I probably won't play God of War: Sons of Sparta, but definitely excited for this remake. Definitely excited that I think it's awesome to bringing back TC Carson to voice Kratos, and just can't wait to see more of the remake. So, what'd you guys think of this announcement?
I mean, I think it was a solid announcement. I would have preferred to have the Tokon announcement be the last announcement. That's just me personally. Like, this was a cool announcement. Like, yeah, we're getting a remake. Yeah, we released this 2D side scroller. But I don't think it deserved to be the Indian announcement, in my opinion.
So this game, if John Wick was like my plot hole game of the state of play, this is the game that raised more questions for me than provided excitement. This thing was announced today with like no delivery anytime in sight. So is this a PS6 game? And what is the scope and scale of the remake? Like, I would be super interested, me personally, to see the stories of those original God of War games told in the graphical style of current God of War. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, and I don't know if that would like super upset like the people who feel like remakes need to be, essentially the original game. So which to me would that would be a weird thing for me because I feel like we've moved past that game design. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, but it just caused me lots of questions about how big is the team at Santa Monica that's being allocated to this. If Barlog's game is going to spool up into production or has already spooled up into production. So I just don't know. I just don't know what that looks like. And then you have the comments, right, of like, we don't plan on making God of War IP for 20 years, right? Because that could literally be somebody's entire career. So supposedly they were, moving on from this, after Ragnarok, theoretically, I thought, or at least maybe they had, one other game in the bag and we're moving on. I don't know. So it's just weird. It just raises lots and lots and lots of questions.
Yeah, that's actually a great point, Logic. Like I was kind of thinking the same thing when they announced this trailer. Like, is this kind of more like, is this going to be a PS6, launch title maybe? I don't know. Yeah. And I think it's a great point. Like, bring up like, what is the design going to look like for this game? Is it going to be something like God of War 2018? I mean, I would think probably not, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I could at first, before he said the thing of like, you're not going to hear about this forever, basically. I was like, oh well, this again, this kind of make like you're spooling up a God of War show on Amazon, and PlayStation has shown that it's going to put shows out and then maybe put remakes, remasters out alongside him, right, to capture those extra sales and drive zeitgeist for both the game remasters and the television show. But then this thing comes up as a remake, and we're not going to hear about it for it. So I'm like, okay, well that like is I don't know if we have a release date for the God of War television show. They're still in casting, so maybe it's far enough out, but that would still be a relatively short dev cycle for a game. I would even say for a remake, because I would think maybe that show would release in like a couple of years, maybe. So I just don't know. Like I said, it just generated a ton of questions around what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm leaning on, because I just pulled up God of War TV series. I'm leaning towards this thing maybe being a PlayStation 6 release title. Similar to what they did with Demon Souls. But it would, if it's, because it looks like the show, they're saying 2027, 2028. That would probably put it around the launch of the PS6.
So there's what gets me in the direction of, are you really taking I don't know why I'm dropping his name now. Who he's been on the show, Brap. Who was the God of War creator? I can see his face. I'm jumping.
Oh, you know, David Jaffe.
Yeah. So are you really taking Jaffe's game style and making that like a PS6 like launch title, and it coincides along with the show, that would be kind of weird to me. The content coming out alongside the show makes sense. The story content, the game design, and it being a remake, and the amount of time that takes, and how big the team is, and what else they're working on. That's the thing that's just a whole swirl of questions for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like they're just doing one game. They're doing an entire trilogy. You know what I mean? So that's tough.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering. I think with Logic, it's kind of like what I'm thinking about is what Logic said. Like, is the design or is the gameplay going to be similar to God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok? Like, is it? Yeah. I mean, I don't think so because I think those. So. I think a God of War 3. I think the big set piece of Gaia. Like, I don't see how that works. I mean, maybe it does. I don't know. On the PS6, I mean, maybe it does work on the PS6.
Yeah, I don't think they do that just because, like, in the 2018 game, you don't even jump. You know what I mean? Like to get the combos off with the chains and stuff like that. Like, you have to be able to move differently. You know what I mean? Like to stack the combos. The gameplay is just totally different. And I don't know if you can. Yeah, if you could. I don't even know what the reception would be if you did that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, these games have sold way better than God of War has ever sold, but the nostalgia of those games is what people have been yearning for. You know what I mean? Like, they want that hack and slash, quick combat style gameplay. And I don't know if you try to replace that with the way that the newer games play, if that's even received as well.
Yeah, probably not. I would imagine probably not, because the hack and slash, and you're right, the jumping, the chaining of combos, like that is yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can change that, B.
Well, so here's the big question. I'm definitely not, just different perspective. So yes, there's a part of me that absolutely agrees with that. Then there's the part of me that says, okay, but again, it's coming out alongside the show ish. It's coming out on your next generation console. So 50% of the purpose of the game is to introduce the IP to new audiences.
And so yeah, I mean, I totally get that, but the show is based on the Norse mythology, not the Greek mythology.
Right.
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah, you're right, B.
So, like, I mean, yeah, you could have the product there, and I mean, I don't know if they're gonna do some sort of flashback. I don't know what they're doing with the show, but I know that the show is supposed to be set in Norse mythology. So, I mean, to have the Greek mythology games there, like, yeah, I mean, I guess you'll have the added sales of people just checking it out by name, but it really wouldn't correlate directly with the show. You know what I mean? Like, the same stories aren't being told.
Yeah, no, I think you pitch it as see what Kratos was before the show, right? Like, yeah. This is the stuff you play to understand, like, what he's been through and where he is now, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that too.
All right, gentlemen. So what are we assigning in terms of numerical value to the show out of 10?
You talking about the state of play?
State of play, yeah.
I mean, I think it was pretty solid. I mean, I would give him like a 7.5, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of where excuse me. That's kind of where I'm at, B, like 7.5.
Yeah.
You know. Somebody in the chat gave it a 10. I wouldn't give it a 10. But 7.5. I think it's a good show.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There's nothing that was like a big standout for me, but there was a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there were some solid games there, but nothing like Oh my God, for me at least. So what about you, Logic?
I don't know. It's a little rough. I saw, I saw 5 games that I'm interested in playing and will likely play. So that's my summary. I don't score these shows.
No, I know. I was hoping you score, but Well, I mean that seems like solid. You got like 4 or 5 games out of it, right?
Yeah, which is not as long a list as I've had for states of play or for game shows in general. There's a lot of nostalgia stuff in here that just wasn't in my particular bailiwick. Then you have the game as a service co-op stuff, which in previous years that may have been additional games that I was looking forward to, but and then you just had. I mean, I hate to say it, but then in terms of how many games could have been on my list, you just have those weird things of like the John Wick thing, and I'm like, okay, I don't know that ever actually becomes a game. My confidence isn't super high. And then quite frankly, you have this God of War trilogy thing, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to count that as a game that I'm definitely going to play when we're saying you're not going to hear about this for a while, and like we just we spent 10-15 minutes saying it's a bunch of questions. So it's an interesting state of play, particularly when we put that alongside the comments you and I, Brap, have made about we haven't hit that point yet where we had the same 2 years of kind of hype vibe that we had going into the bottom 2 years of the PlayStation 4. By this time in the PlayStation 4, we knew about Ghost of Tsushima and we knew about TLU 2. And so I still don't quite feel we're there yet. Maybe as this God of War stuff congeals, then we'll kind of get a feeling. Like I said, it's probably not likely. If the God of War thing was coming out alongside Intergalactic, then I might feel like a different kind of way. So we'll just have to see how it all plans on coming together, I guess.
Yeah. I was actually hoping to see Intergalactic, but wasn't there. Maybe next time. But all right. Well, I want to thank everyone in the live chat for coming by, hanging out with us this evening. Yeah, not our regular scheduled time, but we went live tonight because of the state of play. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Do me a favor, do the YouTube thing, hit the like button if you're new, consider subscribing, hit the bell notification. Also want to give a big shout out to the panel here, B Money and Game Logic. Thank you, gentlemen, as always. Great seeing you again, B. I know you're busy, so certainly appreciate your time, and always great chopping it up with you. And Logic, love the Hiroki Totoki profile pic. That was great. Double-digit profit margins, right? Now, I ask this question every week. B, I know you don't want to be found, but Logic, I'll ask if you want to be found. If you do, let everyone know they can find you.
I would say there's a new episode of Gaming Outside the Algorithm, episode number 8. Please feel free to go over to the Rounding Off Infinity channel on YouTube and check that out. I cover Square Enix earnings, Ubisoft's earnings, UK charts, Japan charts for game sales. Lots of news about Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, how that's doing in other regions. What's going on with the Steam Deck. And in the ongoing Ubisoft labor dispute. So feel free to check that out.
Didn't Square Enix had earnings weren't that great, were they?
No, they lost about 13.3%, I think, on revenue. But operating income was out. I suspect, and Brap and I talked about it a little last week, but I suspect strongly because of IP licensing and merchandising, not due to game sales, because game sales are moving, significantly backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. Who was it? Somebody in the chat. Yeah, Valor Tree. Interesting note is Square flipping off Sony in the past year and Sony joining arms with Konami. That's one of the things that I talk about on the show is how lots of noise about going to a multi-platform strategy, and then a year later not necessarily seeing the fruits of that labor paying off, and at some point the rest of the world will agree with me that Square Enix is just a fiscally irresponsibly run company, in that and they don't know how to make sales forecasts, and that's what winds up getting them where they are most of the time. But
yeah, well, I said that on the show before, that they think that their games are bigger than what they actually are. And
yes,
they do not have the same appeal that they had back in the 90s, and they just can't seem to understand that.
Yep. So yes, feel free to please go check that episode out and provide feedback or any comments that you guys want. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching tonight's show. Really appreciate the support as always. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you then. Thank you for watching.